Everybody walked around, met some people, ate some food. Yeah? Okay. Well, welcome back to the Festival of the Year, Pendomonium 2021. We conduct festivals very differently all around the world, but the reason we have them is to celebrate something special. Remember that today, we're here to celebrate you all, this incredible product community that grows by leaps and bounds each day. You are here with a company full of people that helps product people get better at what they do, because better never stops when it comes to a great product experience. By now, you should have all made at least 2 new connections, and if not, come see me and I'll make an intro. I have no problems breaking awkward silence. You can ask my team. In fact, all 4 of the people you're about to see on stage didn't know each other until we all kind of made some intros, so that's a little fun fact. They didn't know each other, and now they're basically going to be talking you through some awesome product-led best practices. This next session features leaders from different roles who are all focused on creating an incredible customer experience. They're sitting down with our Director of Product Management, Stephanie Tanzer, to share how product-led strategies have enabled them to be ready for anything. A little bit about Steph. She joined Pendo as Director of Product Management after 10+ years of experience building SaaS products at fast-paced pre-IPO companies. She believes in deeply understanding the problems she's solving and thinking about what success looks like up front. She has managed products for Agile practitioners. I'm sure you heard a little bit about Agile excitement earlier from her. Cybersecurity professionals, and most recently, product managers like herself. She loves building software for people who build software. She's followed Pendo since it was founded in 2013 and is so excited to be a member of our team. Please welcome to the stage our panel.
I got you, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating.
Hi there, I'm Stephanie Tanzer, Director of Product Management at Pendo. In Todd's keynote, he talked about the necessity for companies today to be ready for anything. We wanted to dig into what this really looks and feels like inside product-led organizations. These folks recognize that the customer experience is indistinguishable from the product experience. We've brought together leaders from different parts of the org to have a discussion on how they've had to be agile and adapt to the pace of change, as well as the growing expectations of their customers and what they've learned along the way. So let me introduce them. Hirsch is the Director of Product Operations at Quickbase. Quickbase offers a no-code operational agility platform that helps companies improve operations through real-time insights and automation across complex processes and disparate systems. Harrison is based in Port St. Lucie, Florida, and in addition to his product experience, Harrison's career also includes leading IT and engineering teams. Andrena Kelly is the Director of Product Strategy at JAMF. JAMF helps businesses, schools, and governments simplify IT management of Apple devices. Andrina is based in Victoria, Canada, and prior to her current role, she led user experience at JAMF. Andrina is also a current Pendo MVP. Stephanie Monk is the Director of Customer Marketing at Citrix. Citrix provides workspace software that creates a simple, secure, and better way to work from anywhere and on any device. Stephanie is based right here in Raleigh, and she spent the last 6 years designing impactful in-app marketing programs for Citrix, and as well as nearly a decade before that in product management roles. And Richard Vass is the Vice President of Customer Success at eLearning Brothers. eLearning Brothers provides end-to-end learning management, course authoring, virtual reality, gamification, and custom training solutions. Richard is based in Salt Lake City, Utah, and has spent the last 9 years at eLearning Brothers focused on building strong customer relationships. So welcome. Thank you for joining us today. As you can see, it's very sunny up here, so I love the sunglasses. It's quite the look. Okay, so the last 20 months, has introduced a lot of change, especially in customer expectations and behavior. Can you each provide one example of how your teams had to evolve quickly to the changing needs or desires of your customers? And Stephanie, let's start with you today.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thank you to Pendo for putting on Pendomonium. I've been to every single one, and so I'm so glad it's back and live and get to see everyone again. But yeah, the last 20 months have been crazy, right? At Citrix, we make the software where you can work wherever you want on any device at any time. So we shouldn't have skipped a beat. And we had to just keep meeting our goals and keep going. But what I saw was, I love fire engines, right, when they come. That's awesome. Was it impacting my team. Like, we were in the office most of the time and getting that one-on-one interaction, those side conversations, and we were missing those. And so we started doing daily syncs, and it was just a 20, 30-minute conversation, not even about work sometimes, about our lives, what we did at the weekend, our kids, our pets. And what's even more impactful is we see our kids jumping in, on our Zoom calls or our team calls, or our pets crawling across the computer. So that's made it more personable, and it kept us, the camaraderie going to keep us going.
Yeah, are people annoyed at the pets yet, or are they?
Oh, we love it. We love it. We encourage it.
That's so great. And I think, obviously meetings and personal connection is so important. And Andrina, I'd love to hear a little bit more about that from you.
Yeah, from our perspective, we were really in a position of being prepared for the pandemic itself, in that the software that we create allows people to just ship a box to their employees and open it up and start working, while still making sure that it's secure and configured appropriately for them. When we started taking a look at what was going on for our customers during the pandemic and how it was affecting them, what we recognized that there were some new use cases coming to surface that our customers needed our help with. And it really allowed us to take a look at some of the things that were challenges for the education market, especially challenges in the healthcare market, and allowed us to adapt really quickly and create new products very quickly, and innovations that have allowed us to really push forward, and things that are going to be great for us in the future too.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about any of the products that you kind of created during that time?
Yeah, absolutely. From the education space, one of the things that was really immediately came to apparent was that our students were coming up to exam time, and they were not going to be able to go into the regular big halls to go and take exams and ensure that they were proctored securely. And so seeing that use case, we were able to come up with a solution and a workflow with existing devices that we knew were secure, we knew that they were configured, ready to go for taking exams, and then allowing that proctoring so that proctors could see the student taking the exam, that they could see the screen, and they knew exactly what was going on, and the exams were able to go forward as expected.
Do kids cheat on exams? Is this a problem?
I don't know what happened when you were in school, but yeah, it's definitely a thing. Being able to have the live video and have that security that you're not immediately reading notes off of somewhere else to be able to cheat in an exam was a huge win for our customers.
Yeah, talk about a problem that didn't exist, well, maybe existed, but in a very different way before this whole, event. Richard, thoughts from you?
I just listened to a podcast about exactly what you're describing, and a very funny story, so remind me to share that with you. But we're a learning tech business, and so we've been around for 10 years. We're new to customer success just in the last couple of years. Pendo's been a big part of our journey. We acquired another business in April of last year. So you can imagine what that was like. We're based in Salt Lake City, and here we have 50 people, out of Deerfield Beach, Florida, who have these amazing products that we're so excited to, add to our group of, cloud-based tools. We actually offer 7 different cloud-based tools to clients. So when you talk about that customer experience, something that I've been trying to establish as the leader of customer success at our business is trying to understand, with these thousands of customers who are using learning tech to develop their online training programs and take things home, and we actually did some proctor-based online learning and remote solutions. How often should our customers be logging in? Mm-hmm. And so our team started to get really sort of worked up about it. Like, well, these customers have gotten 5 of the 7 tools, and they got that suite, but they're not really logging in. Mm-hmm. And so my team, I have 12 people on my team in customer success, they were getting stressed. And what we learned about our customer behaviors is, it's sort of like when I was doing home improvements and I bought that Craftsman table saw. I used it a lot for 2 months, and now it's in my garage, and it's gonna sit there for 8 months, and I'm not gonna use it, but I'm still very happy with it. And I probably will use it again when I have a need for it. And so once Pendo helped us realize that, we calmed down a little bit, and we realized, we don't need to be in our customer's face like every month, because they'll use our tool when they have a project.
Yeah.
So that was illuminating for us.
Did that change your behavior in terms of trying to get people into the tool?
For sure. It changed our email strategies, our outreach campaigns, our pop-up surveys. changed the whole tone of where we were headed. We're not sure yet if we've got it right, but when you talk about customer behaviors and what we've learned, we just took a deep breath and realized, okay, it's fine. Sky's not falling when people aren't logging in every week, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Interesting. Harrison.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, Quickbase is as a platform that allows other businesses to create software to solve their own issues. We thought we were ready for this, right? But the level of change that occurred over the last couple of years has been really illuminating. We had many customers that maybe were small and mid-market and had financial struggles. So just from a customer success, account management standpoint, we had a lot of change there. And then we had customers that were iterating really quickly, developing solutions around COVID. So we have a major city in the US that runs 911 operations on Quickbase. And very quickly they had to expand to do things like vaccine registration or allowing citizens to report community nonconformities with businesses that weren't following local regulations. And those things all happened in days and weeks. So definitely the game changed for us a little bit when we started getting, our technical support team would start to get tickets saying, hey, I'm trying to register for my vaccine online and I'm having trouble, which was new for us, not something that we were able to help with. We had to figure out those patterns, the communication challenges, and so there was a lot that went on there. And actually, there's many of our customers are doing things like vaccine distribution, vaccine registration. So just a lot of different things that changed as far as the criticality of the solutions that customers were building.
Wow, yeah, talk about critical, urgent, important work that, wasn't necessary a couple months ago. Okay, so changing direction a little bit, and I want to dig into how you all work cross-functionally, how you collaborate. And so who are the key teams and roles within your organization who work in collaboration today to drive a cohesive customer experience inside your applications? And let's see, who'd like to start with this? Richard, how about you?
Yeah, for sure. So the way I've structured the team, I mentioned I have 12 people. So we had to look very closely at what are we selling? And as you can imagine, being in a learning tech business, there's a lot of need for what we're offering. A lot of people trying to get their training online to train folks at home and remotely. So as we evaluated what it is we're offering, as I mentioned these 7 tools, well, 5 of them are authoring tools. So people use those tools to build the learning. And 2 of the tools are platform tools. So that's where you host what you built. So I've constructed the team in sort of 3 different teams. One is authoring onboarding with thousands of customers who are buying these authoring tools. So I have an onboarding team, that's 3 people. And those 3 people engage a lot with sales because there's a lot of transactions going on there. These are annual subscriptions. Sign up for 1 year, you get access to these 5 cool tools. So I've got 3 people just constantly onboarding those customers. And I have 4 people dealing with customer solutions. So those are the people who are dealing with tickets and problems. And I've got them aligned with the product team. So you got onboarding working with sales a whole lot, and marketing actually. You've got the solutions team, that's customer success, working with product a whole lot. And then I have another team that's just the platform solutions and onboarding, and they're also working kind of cross all teams together. So organizing it that way and saying, okay, these 3 are working in this way, these 4 are working in that way, and these 3 are working in that way, helps them align with the various functional teams a little easier.
Mm-hmm. So you have these 3 separate teams then. How do you prevent them from actually becoming silos internally?
Yeah, good question. We do team meetings, obviously, every week. So we have a Wednesday standing meeting with the solutions team and a Friday standing meeting with the onboarding team. And as I mentioned, we acquired one of these businesses last year. So I've never met them. I was just telling Harrison, I'm excited. He's in Florida, so I'm coming down to Florida in a couple of weeks to finally meet my team after a year and a half of being on Zoom calls. But we have standing weekly meetings. We have Slack channels where we can communicate with one another. I send out a customer success roundup every month, just to the whole company. And it's all graphical. So I say, here's this team, and this team. So that helps too, I think, keeping everybody on the same page.
Okay, interesting. Harrison, thoughts on you?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the challenges for us is that we have 2 different kind of audiences that we're catering to. We have what we call our builders or our creators, the people who are actually creating the software applications, and then we have the consumers of them. So to us, those are the end users. And so we obviously have a visual design and interaction team that works really closely with product and engineers. We also have content writers that think about the words that we're using. And the more that we've expanded the circle outward to bring in other departments, things like onboarding, customer success to be part of those communications, our training teams to be part of the journey of how we're building product, that's definitely been a way for us to ensure success and also help bring everyone along and make everyone part of the journey. And we've definitely seen really good leading indicators that as we increase the collaboration with some of the other departments, including our technical support team, right, those types of things, and some of the product decisions, that we ultimately have greater outcomes for both of those audiences.
Yeah. What are you measuring? What are your leading indicators?
Oh, actually, recently we've invested pretty heavily in product engagement score, so that's something that we're working on. NPS is a common one, and product engagement score is, when you drill into it, really adoption of key features, which in Pendo translates to core events, but there's a lot of things that we track in the product that will tell us over time how a lot of our efforts are, how they're paying off. But we have a lot of lag in those because the builder has to ultimately consume the feature that they build, and then their end user has to ultimately use what they create. So that creates an interesting challenge for us, and one that really requires all the collaboration from those other departments.
Yeah, interesting. And Andrina, thoughts?
So one of the things that we really focus on is thinking about what our whole product experience really looks like, which means that as we're thinking about collaborators, our customers actually come up as they are part of our collaboration team. And if we approach it from the angle of what is our entire product experience and how do we create the best experience, no matter what that touch point is for our customer as they're collaborating with us, that really sort of guides the interactions internally as to who should be communicating with whom. And so we have quite a mesh, I would say, where it's really at that point in time for this experience that our customer is about to go through, who are the best people to really think about that and be able to work together. So I wouldn't say that we have set people of like, oh, this person always works with this part of our organization. It could be anywhere for whatever we're trying to achieve at that point in time.
Interesting. So it's kind of a matrix. Whoever is best suited to collaborate at any given time, that's the team that really is put together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any challenges with that?
Oh, sorry, not to interrupt, but do all of those people log into Pendo?
We have pretty much every part of our organization has the ability to log into Pendo, yes.
Oh, wow.
And so there could be different leaders that are definitely more champions in certain different groups, but it is open to anyone who wants to find information.
Well, thank you.
Interesting. Yes, Steph, how about you?
Yeah, so my team owns the customer journey post-sale, and we own it in a digital means. So hello, we live in Pendo all day, every day. And so everything we do is from a cross-functional approach. We work with so many teams at Citrix, customer success, product management, engineering, support, sales marketing, and legal, my favorite team of all. But I'll give you some examples of what we do. So with customer success, when a new feature comes out, we want to make sure that we're talking in the same points, the same benefits. So what we put out in a Pendo message is what the customer success team is going to say as well, right? We want it to resonate in the same way. With onboarding, we work closely with our engineering and PM teams and our customer success engineers to make sure that we're providing guidance to help them configure their services faster. And it works both ways. Since we live in Pendo every day, we also live in our products every day, and we'll see gaps in our products that we're like, this is a horrible customer experience. Why would anyone, be able to configure this solution? So we also give that feedback back to engineering and product design and PMs to say, there's a gap here, there's a problem. We need to work on creating a better customer experience. So it's definitely a cross-functional aspect in everything we do. Support, I'll call out support too. Our support team will come to us and say, hey, we have a high volume of calls around this specific issue. What can you guys do? And so we'll put out messaging in the product where we know there's issues to help them self-service so they're not calling support, right? Because every support call is a cost to our bottom line. And so we've seen reduction in support calls as well. So everything we do is to make sure that customer experience is at its best, and we do it from a cross-functional perspective. And I will call out, my team is actually doing a presentation at 3 on the stage called Better Together, 5 Ways to Create Badass Guides from a Cross-Functional Collaboration. So check them out.
No, that's great. And it sounds like collaboration is easy, based on what I've heard from all you. Anyone have challenges?
it's baked in our blood. We do it all day, every day.
We've got to get more people engaged, I think. So that's why I was asking Andrina about how many folks are engaged. Right now, everybody just sort of looks to customer success to handle all of the engagement stuff. And we have a challenge of getting everybody to own it together. So it's an evolution, I guess.
Yeah.
Tell me a funny story later, and I'll talk to you about internal champions.
Okay.
Internal champions. I heard that. Okay, so effective collaboration. Of course, we've been talking about this. It's critical when we're trying to move fast, especially with distributed teams. Can you each provide one specific tip for the audience on how they can better work across teams to create a better customer experience? And Harrison.
Yeah, I mean, we've had to spend a lot of time thinking about what belongs in a meeting, what belongs in a Confluence page, what's a Slack message. Of course, a couple of years ago, everyone just started saying, well, let's spin up a meeting for that. We all got meeting fatigue. So we've done two things really specifically that I think have paid off on making sure people felt like their time was used in a really good way, which was, one, we've been really rigorous around meeting agendas and making sure people had pre-read materials so they could determine if that was something that they felt they needed to participate in or that they could evaluate best for themselves. And then once you're in the meeting, we have a pretty strong 2-foot rule. So if you don't think you're adding value or you don't think you're getting value, it doesn't matter who from the organization is in that meeting, you're free to leave and do something else that you feel is a better use of your time. And especially working with multiple time zones, we have 60 people in Bulgaria right now. We have people in New Zealand, all different places in the U.S. Really thinking through the best way to communicate, because you're never going to get everyone in one spot at the right time if you want people to be able to sleep and have a work-life balance. So trying to prioritize those things was big for us, and it's definitely still a journey.
Yeah, efficient meetings, sounds like that's the name of the game here. Andrena, we were talking earlier about meetings, and it sounds like you have a little bit of a different look at this.
Yeah, a little bit. One of our biggest things that because we had the same meeting fatigue when we first, everyone, started working from home. And the thing that really stood out to us was that we were losing the human factor. When you went to an in-person meeting, it was invariable that you'd have the first 5 minutes chatting about something that you'd seen on your way into work, or lamenting how one of our colleagues had loaded the dishwasher. And it's not very popular when I talk at home about how my husband loaded the dishwasher. So really, what we just need to do is have those dedicated moments of social interaction and not just dive right into the meeting agenda. One of our internal engineers, in fact, noticed this and said because he was missing that human interaction, he actually wrote a Slack app which just pairs random people up in the company. And we've had acquisitions and growth over the last 22 months as well. And being able to have just these dedicated time where you're not supposed to be talking about work, but you are talking with one of your work colleagues and getting to know them and having that human interaction has actually made meetings a lot more productive as well, because we're more familiar with each other, we're more relaxed and more willing to speak openly and really get down to business.
Okay, so you balance this, let's say, coffee chats that everyone go through offline. Yep. Or one-on-one, and then you have efficient meetings. Those meetings have a purpose. Those meetings, have a clear agenda and a timeline. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we definitely do still have the number of scheduled meetings on our calendars, but with having those human interaction times, it means that you don't have those meetings where one person is speaking and everybody else is on mute for the entire time. People are actually collaborating and working together. Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So, Steph, how about you?
Yeah, so when I thought about this question, I'll give you guys a little bit of history of Citrix and Pendo. We started 6 years ago with Pendo on one product, ShareFile, and over the past 6 years, we've scaled it to 35 products and services with a team of 5 people. And as you can imagine, if you work with engineering, they are panicked, right? Like, oh my God, you can push out messaging and not follow our release cycle? They're like, heck no. And so as we've scaled, we quickly realized we needed to have a process in place. So we have a really defined governance process on how we work cross-functionally with all the teams to make sure everyone's involved in what we're doing, and then all the way to the end. So we try not to do so many meetings too, right? So Google Docs, like let's make, when we do a kickoff meeting, all the stakeholders involved from different departments, and what do you want? What's the goal of the program or the campaign? What's the call to actions? How long we're going to have it up? And then we'll create a Google Doc and map everything out. So we're not having these constant meetings and reviewing things. And then we told engineering, look, we're going to QA our stuff just like you guys do, and we're going to alert you in our staging environment. We're going to push something there for 24 hours, let you know, like, if you want to see what we're pushing out, you can see it. And then when we do push messaging out live, an email goes out to all of our customer-facing teams, customer success, support, anyone that's talking to the customer, because the customer might call in, right, and say, I just saw this message about a new feature, can you tell me more about it? And we didn't want them to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. So everything we do uses this approach, and it's built trust throughout the organization. Engineering, we have assured them we know what we're doing, and they trust us, and that's made us scale to where we are today.
Yeah, so hopefully now with that new embed widget, you can actually put all those documents into Pendo and have everyone come in there to see what the new features are. Interesting. Yeah. And Harrison. Oh, you already went. Richard, sorry about that.
I'm going to tell Stephanie, my team loves ShareFile. Is Pendo running in ShareFile? Meaning if they log into ShareFile, are they going to see a Pendo guide or anything in there?
Yes, they do.
Oh, I'm going to ask them about that. And say, did you know? Because I don't think they knew that.
Yeah.
For us, when you talk about collaboration amongst teams that have never met each other, and we're growing, and last year it was a $40 million funding round that helped us acquire new business. We actually acquired a small office in Manhattan as well. But I'll just say this. Every time we get an NPS score in Pendo, it drives to Slack. And all the departments and teams are a member of that Slack channel. And that has been amazing because we get product teams and sales and marketing all commenting on this low score we just got, on the Pendo pop-up in this tool. And so for collaboration, there's been a lot of action that has come from that. And there's not a meeting or anything that's going on. It's just, hey guys, look at this score. Who is that customer? Oh, that's this customer. Oh, what do we know about them? Then sales will weigh in. Oh, well, they just signed 10 more licenses or whatever. And like, okay, well, looks like they're concerned about this. Marketing, okay, well, we can, and customer success, well, why don't we do this? Or we'll add that. So that tiny little, integration has driven a lot of collaboration for us.
Do you reach out to your customers when they give you a bad score?
I noticed Pendo does that.
Pendo does.
Yeah, we do, so.
I've only ever said thumbs up on Pendo, and then I hear from you guys. Matter of fact, my last Pendo work group meeting, I challenged my team to make sure we're making that happen. So we've done handwritten cards for people who give us bad reviews, but we have way too many customers for that now, so we're trying to get better at that.
Yeah, so it sounds like Slack is a big part of this collaboration, making you effective. Yeah. When do you know if a conversation needs to move out of Slack into maybe a face-to-face Zoom conversation?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. If it's alarming, maybe we're noticing, actually that happened. That's happened a couple of times where we got this one company continue to give us low scores. And so yes, that became a topic of conversation at a product meeting. Somebody said, I'm going to add this to our agenda for the next product meeting. Mm-hmm. And how are we, and I said, well, make sure one of our customer success folks is on that call, my assigned CSM for that company, because I'd like us to do a targeted outreach to this company. And we're working with that company now. But yes, it has driven some specific meetings as well. Usually when there's a lot of, unhappiness. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When
great.
there is.
So many of our customers are becoming more product-led, but that means different things to different people. What does being product-led mean to you and your companies? And Richard, we're going to start with you today.
Yeah, product-led has been interesting for us in this space of all these tools that we offer online. And for us to be competitive in the learning tech world, you have to have, a really good stock asset library with lots of images in it, and lots of cool videos, and lots of cool games that you can drop right into, a learning experience. And so we have found, and actually Pendo helped us learn this, that our customers are trialing everything a lot. And so talk about product-led customers, they want to try it first. And we give them a 30-day trial, and I still remember the executive meeting about 6 months ago where I said, do you guys know how many people are using our stuff as trial users? And I think our marketing VP said, well, we had a few hundred sign up for the form. That's probably dropping off, maybe half. And I said, as of like right now, today, there's like 1,013 people using this one tool. And so, well, everybody started to go, well, why aren't they converting? We should have more conversions in that tool. Why aren't they converting to paid? And over time, we were able to find out, oh, these trial users, they log in for 10 minutes. They click around on a bunch of core features. So it looks like adoption is way high, right? On a PES score, adoption's way high for these users, but they're only in for 10 minutes and then they never log in again. So that helped us structure and focus our efforts on around, okay, well, if they're gonna try it out, what's the right messaging at the right time for them? And that has gotten way better in converting.
Yeah, have your conversions rates increased?
Yes, very much so.
Oh, that's great. Any numbers you can share?
Well, we had noticed, I'll just share those 1,013. We're like, we should have at least 90% conversion. And we said, I don't know if that's gonna work, but we found over time that a good standard conversion rate for us is about 50% will move to paid clients after they've tried it out and we're giving them the right messaging right up front. And again, back to my example of the table saw, if I'm not using that table saw every month, it doesn't mean I'm not happy with it. It's doing exactly what I wanted it to do. The messaging has to be right. You have to finesse that. So that's been really helpful.
Great. Steph, how about you?
So product led is important, but also we focus on being customer-led as well. So everything that we build is for the customer experience and to do their best work, right? They're using our platform to get work done. And so we want to make sure whatever we put out is helping them along the way. So for example, messaging is super important. No offense to those product managers out there, I was one for years, but when you give me a paragraph of all the wonderful features of your product, no one's going to read that, right? So my team takes that paragraph and makes it into a user-friendly, consumable, 3 bullet point benefits of why to engage with this message and go turn on this feature. We also try to target the right guides to the right customer at the right time. We don't want to be messaging about an advanced feature to turn on when they're in the onboarding phase and just trying to get set up and started. So we always are being mindful of who's seeing our messaging that we're putting out. And then also, we use badges in our resource center because every time someone logs into our products, we don't want them having a pop-up. I mean, they're there to get their work done, right? And so we want to be in a way that we can still help them when they need help, but we're not going to be intrusive because ultimately it's about their customer experience and staying and getting their work done.
How do you balance both the intrusive pop-up, new features out, like, please take a look, here's the benefits, with, your strategy around those badges?
Yeah, so if you think, in Citrix, our platform, all admins log in no matter what product they have. And so every product manager thinks their feature is most important, right? Like, I need this space. And so, we look at it from what are our company's core strategies? What are the hero features coming out? What is the most important thing that our customers need to know about? So we take that approach. But yeah, it's definitely, you're having to say no. We're going to have to hold off on some messaging because everyone thinks their stuff's important.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Andrina.
For us being product-led, it again comes back to that whole concept internally we've got of our whole customer experience, our whole product experience. And so that's every touch point that we have, not only person to person, but also customer to product. And so we actually have a very similar example to what Richard has of we were experiencing people wanting to try our software and see how it could enable their environment. And we recognize being able to guide someone very personally through that trial made a huge difference. And so our guide interactions for people who are trying our software are really about showing them the value of the product up front. It's personalized, it's customized to people who are these new customers, these new trial customers, and it gives them the ability to know how to connect with us if they wanted to learn more as well, or if they've got special use cases that they want to discuss with us. So that's a lot of things that we're doing there.
Yeah, who on your team is responsible for that trial onboarding experience?
Again, this was another one of these very cross-functional discoveries where we had our strategist team sort of came with this challenge of, hey, we really want to have a personalized trial experience. And then we worked very closely with our customer success, with our sales engineering, with our in-app content engagement manager, help craft all of these different workflows. And we, in fact, ended up being a custom module within our resource center and very, very guided to success with embedded videos. It's very rich content.
It sounds like a lot of work to make it perfect.
It was a lot of work. There were thankfully a lot of very smart people involved.
No, that's great. And Hersch,
I just want to say we had folks come to us and say, hey, trials converting trials to paid, it's customer success. You should help with that. And I said, well, we're customer success. These are not really customers. They may be sort of, kind of. They're like prospect success. Who really owns that? But by collaboration, we were able to figure out, well, Pendo can really help here by guiding the customer without us having to do a lot of effort in there. We just got to build the right guide early.
So who really does own that in your organization? Is it a combination of your sales engineers and your customer success, or?
Yeah, we've got customer success building in Pendo, guides in Pendo, and product. So those two teams can help put the messaging in Pendo. Sales has eyes in there. They can see, okay, on this particular pop-up, who said, yeah, count me in, and who just closed it. So now I've got the sales team looking at that data, but we're the ones building it, at least product and customer success. I don't know if you're the same, Andrina.
We actually have a director of content strategy, and so within her team.
Hersch is disappearing.
It feels nice. It's great for you.
It's a little better.
So yeah, we've got a director of content strategy, and so within her team, she's got some really unique groups where we have the in-app content engagement, we have customer education, and we've got our tech comm department. We also have a very enthusiastic sales engineering team who actually took the time to dig in and really experiment. They were used to running demos, so like a one-on-one demo of these are the same things that they showed a customer every time, and so they helped drive, what should be in these guides. We were able to reuse content that we already had from our customer education team, and then it was a matter of bringing it together into a really engaging manner with our in-app content engagement team.
Interesting. And Harrison?
Yeah, I mean, product-led for us has been about really making sure that not only do we have a seat at the table in all of those conversations as we think about the customer journey, but also really collaborating and driving a shared purpose. So we've seen a lot of success using, obviously, some Pendo tools around things like product engagement score, but really identifying what the North Star is for all of the departments. I mean, obviously, we all want net retention. We all want account growth. We all want feature adoption. Even though those might be owned by different departments and different functions within the organization, they all ultimately lead to hopefully growth for the organization. And that's something that's been able to manifest itself within some of the Pendo tools. So I think that really making sure that we're able to provide the scaffolding that everyone rallies around, right? Whether it's guide adoption, feature adoption, conversions and experiments. Those are all things that have been really important to us over the past 6 to 12 months as we work on it. And it's definitely a work in progress, far from perfect, but having a seat at the table and rallying around a shared goal and purpose, and then making sure that everyone drives towards that has been really beneficial.
What is your true North Star?
The obvious one is account growth, right, and revenue growth. Looking at things historically over cancellations and what are the trends, what is the data telling us. That's been something that's a really common language for everyone. So hopefully, product engagement score will continue to play a really important part there, and I'd personally like to see it side by side with things like NPS at all of our executive and board reviews.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to see that as well. We'll chat later. These are great tips for how to be product-led. So how have these product-led strategies help you stay nimble and adapt? And Andrina, we're going to start with you on this one.
Yeah, we had a really interesting use case around this. We had an area of our product which kind of blended into the navigation area within our product, and had a hunch that maybe this sort of informational area within what was traditionally our navigational area might be causing some confusion for our customers. And so we did something a little different, and we tagged a feature with Pendo, which was actually just some text on a page. So I didn't know you could do this, and so when we discovered we could do it, it was awesome. But it's a non-clickable function, and we were then able to see how many people were clicking on this area of our product, which really functionally did nothing. And from there, we saw a lot of interaction with a thing that did nothing, which led us into paths and sort of saying, well, okay, you've clicked on a thing. What was it you were actually trying to do? Maybe our path will help guide us in the right direction. And we started to get some hints that, okay, you've clicked on this, and then you went to go take a look at your inventory. And so from there, we wanted to get real confirmation from our customers that this is what they were wanting to be doing. And so we created a guide. We got a quick little feedback guide where we just simply asked the question, what were you expecting to happen? And so it wasn't one of those guides that popped up. We required the customer to interact with this area that was non-clickable. And at that point, the question was simply, well, what did you expect to happen here? We had really good feedback from that guide where I think it was like 60% of the people who saw the guide actually gave us a quick little paragraph answer back. And it was, I think 98% of the responses were exactly what we had already learned from taking a look at the paths. So we had both the quantitative and the qualitative data there to really change how our product was going to behave, and it was our customers who were leading this new feature.
Why were they clicking? What was the reason?
So the actual informational text was, because we're a device management company, the informational text was telling them how many of their devices were managed. And so it was literally like, it was a number. You have 28 managed devices. And so they were expected to click on that 28 and get a list of those 28 devices. And it was just a number before we went and put some magic in there.
Did you actually give them that list then? Did you build the feature?
Yes, our product team is working on it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Harrison.
Yeah, I mean, coming back to something that we said earlier, just rallying around the data has been really useful. We've seen a lot of, we've been able to adapt to a lot of things. One thing that comes to mind is we've always sort of known that our training efforts and webinars have paid off and that they've been really valuable. We've been doing webinars for over a decade now with customers. Some of those include prospects. And as we started really diving into the data that Pendo was able to provide us, what we ultimately saw was actually that there was a much higher correlation than we had anticipated between attending those webinars, being successful, and then higher NPS, and ultimately now what we're seeing is higher product engagement score. So we were able to double down on that and actually really start targeting in a very hyper-segmented way so that we're not being intrusive to other people when something's not appropriate for them, to get people through their journey when we would have a webinar that made sense for them, right? So we would say, well, you've used feature A, B, and C. Now it's time to use D, and we have a webinar, register for it. And we've actually managed to crush all of our webinar attendance rating, number of people attending the webinars than we've ever had in basically the life of the company. So that's been really fun to see that happen. And then, of course, we're now tracking the people who have been to those webinars using track events and then seeing, are they actually using the features that they learned about? But we've been able to cross 1,000 people at a webinar, which was pretty unheard of for us before really hyper-segmenting.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, as we wrap this up, I think if you all are interested in hearing more about how Harrison has used track events, definitely find him, stop him, and talk to him. As well as if you want to hear some product-led strategies that Richard and Stephanie have used, again, stop them, talk to them. They'd love to chat with you all. So thank you so much for each of you for being part of this discussion. This pace of change that we're living in right now is so incredibly fast. It's unprecedented, and it's so wonderful to hear how you all have adapted. So now on with the show, and thank you all for listening in.